In this lesson, we'll continue our review of Math Test 8, Section 3, No Calculator, questions 11 through 13. We're getting further into the problem-solving section, so more difficult questions. Let's take a look at question 11. Which of the following could be the equation of the graph above? And so we see this function here. We know that to look for the x-intercepts, we know that -3 is the solution, 0, and 2. And so these are roots or solutions. So the factors, if we look at the choices, right, for -3, it's going to be +3. It's going to be +3. These two automatically are both out because this would be +3 and the solution's negative. So right away we're down to A or B. We also want +2, so both of these work. And we have 0. And you may not be sure which one it is, and I'll tell you the rule here if maybe you've forgotten. If it touches exactly one point here at 0, you see how it doesn't extend through? The exponent has to be even. So it has to be x squared, x to the 4th, x to the 6th, and so on. If it's odd like this, just x or x to the 3rd, that means it goes through it. And so just keep that in mind. The answer here is B. All right, let's take a look at question 12. We have this ratio. What's the value of B over A? There's a couple ways to do it. Whenever you have two ratios with an equal sign, you can always cross multiply. So we could just cross multiply and we would get 2 times 2a, which is 4a. Sorry about that. We get 4a equals b. Now look at what the question is asking for. It's really bad. The question is asking for b over a. Can we change this into b over a? Well, what we can do is we could divide both sides by an a. Right? If we divide both sides by a, this cancels out, and we get what we're looking for, and we get 4. That's one way. Another way of doing this problem is you could multiply to get rid of this 2 both sides by 1/2. Right? So if you multiply both sides by 1/2, the 2 goes away, and then you get a over b. 1/2 times 1/2 is 1/4. But we don't want a over b, we want b over a, so we just split both sides, and we get b over a equals 4. So 2 ways to do it. Either way should arrive at 4. And let's take a look at question 13. Oil and gas production in a certain area dropped from 4 million barrels in 2000 to 1.9 million barrels in 2013. Assuming that the oil and gas production decreased at a constant rate, which of the following linear functions F best models the production in millions of barrels T years after 2000. So we're told in 2000 that it was 4 million barrels, and then it decreased at a linear rate. So it went from 4 down to 1.9. And this happened over a total of 13 years, from 2000 to 2013. And so we can figure out that what would the slope be? We know it's negative. 4, this is in millions, so 4 minus 1.9 is 2.1 million barrels, and this happened over 13 years. So this is the slope, and it's negative because it's downward, right? It's decreasing. This 4 to 1.9, it's negative 2.1. So this is the slope. We need the linear equation here. What's the y-intercept? At the starting point, the fixed amount is before any decrease. That'd be a 2000. We're told it's 4. And so we know that the equation is going to be y, or in this case, f of t. T is the number of years, equals the slope, which is minus 2.1 over 13 times t, the number of years, plus the y-intercept, the fixed amount, which is 4. And if you look at the choices, so what they did here is 2.1 over 13 negative. We don't have that as a choice, but if you look here at C, they've just multiplied both sides by 10. That's the exact same slope. We have that same 4 times t, and here's the answer. And so even though it's not exactly, it's still equivalent to that. But understanding linear equations and how they relate to real life situations, very common question.